Have you ever felt like you were trying to solve a very hard puzzle that didn't have all the pieces? There is something that most men completely miss when they are getting to know a woman, and it is the very thing they are looking for. You might be sitting there on your couch or at your desk just trying to figure out if she really likes you or if she is just being nice. You spend so much of your time looking at your phone, reading her text messages over and over again until the words don't even seem real anymore. You play back the things you said and the things she said in your head, like a movie you've seen 100 times, wondering if she sees you as a true partner or just another friend in her life. You are looking for a sign, a big neon light that tells you exactly how she feels. And the most beautiful part of all this, the whole time you have been looking for that big sign, she has already been showing you exactly where you stand. She hasn't been doing it with big, loud speeches or grand romantic gestures that you see in the movies. She isn't telling you directly in a way that feels like a business meeting. No. She has been showing you through the very small things that happen in the quiet parts of the day. Think about that little photo she sent you this morning of her cup of coffee with the steam rising up, or think about that random memory from 3 years ago she brought up for no reason at all. Think about the way she told you about a funny thing that happened while she was waiting in line at the grocery store. Something that didn't really change the world, but she wanted you to know about it anyway. Most men look at those little moments and think that nothing is happening. They think it is just noise. But here is the deep truth, and I really want you to take a moment to let this sink into your heart. When a woman starts sharing the small, ordinary, everyday parts of her life with you, she is doing something that is almost impossible to see with your eyes. But it is one of the most important things she can ever do for a relationship. She is letting you inside her world. If you don't understand what that really means, if you don't know how to see it when it happens or how to hold that moment with care, you will keep missing the signal. You will keep waiting for her to shout it from the rooftops, but by then it might be too late. What could have grown into a beautiful, real love will slowly run out of air and fade away. So let's sit down and talk about this as friends. Let's go a little deeper into what is actually happening. Let me paint a picture for you that might feel very familiar. Imagine you have been talking to a wonderful woman for a few weeks now. The talks are good and you enjoy them. She always writes back. She seems happy to hear from you and she is very warm. But in the back of your mind, you are still a little bit worried. You aren't sure if she truly wants to be with you or if she is just a very kind person who likes to talk. Then on a random Tuesday, she sends you a little note. Maybe she says, "I just heard this old song on the radio and it made me think of that story you told me." Or maybe she sends a picture of a pretty sunset she saw while driving home and says, "I thought you'd like how this looks." Maybe she tells you about a tiny mistake she made at work that made her feel a little silly. It's not a big crisis. It's just a small slice of her life. You look at your phone and you wonder, does this mean something, or is she just bored because she has nothing else to do? You don't want to get your hopes up and you don't want to seem too excited. So you just send a quick casual reply and go back to what you were doing. But that moment right there, that was a door opening wide. And most men walk right past that door without ever looking inside. I want you to understand why we do that. More importantly, I want you to see what she was truly doing when she hit send on that message. The way her mind works reveals something very special about how women open their hearts and how they test to see if a man is ready to protect their feelings. What we are talking about today isn't just some clever trick or a way to get what you want. This is about the real way humans build closeness. It is about how intimacy is grown from a tiny seed into a big tree. It is about how a woman offers her heart in small pieces and how many men accidentally say no thank you without even knowing they are doing it. Once you see this clearly, you will never look at a text about a cup of coffee the same way again. Let's start with a basic truth. Women are very careful about who they share their feelings with. This doesn't mean they are trying to hide things or play games. It means that letting someone see who you really are is a very big risk. Think about it from her side of things. Every time she tells someone how she feels or shows them a part of her day, she is risking being ignored. She is risking being told that her feelings don't matter. She is risking giving her time and her heart to someone who won't value it. Most women have had their hearts hurt before. They have trusted people who didn't deserve it or let someone in who just walked away. Because of that, they have learned to be very wise. They don't just jump into the deep end of the pool. They dip their toes in first to see if the water is warm. Those small moments, the little texts, the random thoughts, the stories about her day, that is her dipping her toe in the water. She isn't asking you for a big, heavy talk about the future. She is just handing you a tiny piece of her world to see how you hold it. Do you hold it with warmth and kindness? Do you show her that you are listening, or do you just brush it off and move on like it was a piece of junk mail? Your answer to the small things tells her everything she needs to know. It tells her if it is safe to give you the big things later on. Think about this for a second. When a woman goes through her day, she has thousands of tiny thoughts and feelings. She sees things that make her smile or things that make her a little sad. Most of those things stay inside her. She might share a few with her best friends or her mom. So when she picks one of those moments and decides to send it to you, that is not an accident. She isn't just killing time, she is choosing you. Out of everyone she knows, she wanted you to see what she saw. She wanted you to be there with her for a moment. That is the very beginning of a deep bond. Many people think closeness is only about physical touch or big declarations of love. But real love starts much earlier. It starts in these tiny, quiet exchanges. Beneath every small thing she shares, she is really asking a question. Can I trust you with the things that matter to me? And you don't answer that question with a big diamond ring or a fancy speech. You answer it with your attention. So, what is she actually looking for when she tells you about her lunch or a funny bird she saw? She isn't looking for you to fix anything. She isn't looking for you to show off how smart you are. She just wants to know that you are there. She wants to feel like you really heard her. There is a huge difference between a man who sees a text about a sunset and just says, nice, and a man who says that is beautiful. Tell me more about your walk. Or, I'm so glad you shared that with me. One answer says, I'm busy. The other answer says, you have my full attention and the things you love are important to me, too. The deepest truth is that women don't just want a man who is standing in the room. They want a man who is emotionally present. They want a man who can be touched by the simple things in life. When she feels like you are truly looking at her and listening to her, it makes her feel safe. Being seen for who you really are is one of the most powerful feelings a human can have. This is why these moments are not small at all. They are the bricks that build the house of your relationship. Now let's talk about where things go wrong, because this is where a lot of good men lose their way. The most common mistake is just not paying enough attention. A man is busy at work or he is tired. So he gives a one-word answer and moves on. He doesn't mean to be mean, but she feels it. She thinks, oh, he doesn't really care about my world. And so very slowly, she stops sharing. She won't make a big scene about it. She won't tell you that you hurt her feelings. She will just quietly pull back. The messages start coming less often. The little stories stop. And months later, the man wonders why the spark is gone, not realizing it started dying weeks ago when he didn't care about the small things. The second mistake is trying to be a detective instead of a friend. Some men get these messages and start thinking about strategy. They wonder, what does this mean for my chances? How should I play this to look cool? When you do that, you stop being a real person and start being a robot. Women can feel when a man is being fake or calculated. It creates a wall between you instead of a bridge. The third mistake is making everything about yourself. She tells you a story about her day, and you immediately start telling a story about your day that is bigger or better. This tells her that you are more interested in your own voice than in hers. All these mistakes come from the same place, not realizing how valuable that little piece of her life really was. Let me tell you what it looks like when a woman finally feels like she can trust you with her whole heart. She starts remembering the things you like and bringing them up. She sees something in a store that reminds her of a joke you told and sends you a picture. She sends you photos of the boring parts of her life, like what she is cooking for dinner or the view from her office window. She does this because she is comfortable with you. She isn't trying to impress you anymore with a perfect version of herself. She is showing you the in-between stuff. That everyday ordinary stuff is where the real magic is. Women don't show that side to everyone. They only show it to the people who have made them feel safe. They show it to the men who have been kind and attentive in the small moments. She isn't just letting you see her life. She is letting you see her soul. There is a very important rule about how our hearts work. We care more about people when we do things for them. The more she shares with you, the more her feelings for you will grow. It's not because she has to, but because sharing creates a bond. This is why you must handle these moments with care. Every time you listen well, the bond gets stronger. But every time you ignore her or brush her off, that bond gets a little weaker. Every ignored message is like a tiny rejection, and over time, those rejections add up until the relationship breaks. So, how do you do this the right way? First, just slow down. When she shares something, don't rush to the next thing. Take a breath and really look at what she sent. Second, be curious like a child. Ask her questions because you actually want to know the answer. When you are curious about her, it tells her she is worth knowing. Third, you don't always have to find a solution. If she tells you she had a bad day, she probably doesn't want you to tell her how to fix her job. She just wants you to say, "I'm so sorry. That sounds really hard." Just be a human being with her. Fourth, try to remember the things she says. If she mentions she likes a certain kind of tea and you ask her about it a week later, it will mean the world to her. It tells her she is important enough to stay in your mind. This whole thing is about more than just dating. It is about becoming the kind of man who truly knows how to be with another person. A lot of men were never taught how to do this. They were taught to be strong and fix things, which is good, but you also need to know how to be soft and listen. Intimacy is about slowing down. It is about treating the unimportant parts of someone's life like they are gold. When a woman shares a small moment with you, she is being very brave. She is trusting you not to hurt her. That deserves your best attention and your kindest heart. The man who understands this is a man who doesn't have to chase after women or act like someone he isn't. He becomes like a magnet because he is actually present. He is a man of depth. Women feel that immediately. They want to be around someone who actually sees them. The goal here isn't to learn a trick to make people like you. The goal is to become a better, kinder human being. A man who can hold a woman's world in his hands without making it all about himself. When you become that kind of man, you don't have to work so hard to find connection. Connection will find you. So, please start paying attention to the small things. Don't see them as a chore or as data points. See them as gifts. Honor them. Because when she shares those tiny moments, she is saying she wants to let you in. The only question is, are you going to be there to meet her? That is where every great love story starts. If this message helped you see things in a new way, that is exactly why this group of caring experts is here. We like to talk about the real feelings and the real truth about how to build a life with someone else. If you want to keep learning with us and find more clarity in your life, stay with us. There is so much more we want to share with you. Please share this with a friend who might be struggling to understand the woman in his life. It is this kind of kindness and understanding that changes everything. I will talk to you again very soon.